come in, sir?
Please come.
Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Please sit down,
Good evening,
Khushbu.
sirs.
Please sit down.
Thank you.
So, Khushbu, are you okay? Ready for the interview?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, please introduce yourself.
Good evening once again. My name is Muskan Khurana. I'm a postgraduate in political science, aspiring to be a diplomat and to be a part of the coveted Indian Foreign Service. I come from the Panipat district of Haryana. I did my schooling from an all-girls boarding school called Vidya Devi Jindal School, Hisar, followed by my graduation in political science honours from Indraprasth College for Women, University of Delhi, and masters in political science from Jawaharlal Nehru University. I enjoy playing badminton and I've also played at the national level. Thank you.
So, Khushbu, as I was seeing from your DAF, lot of badminton is appearing every second line. So, is another Sahina Mahewal in the making?
Sir, in spirit, yes, but not professionally.
Okay. So tell me how, with Sahina Mahewal's success, how are the youngsters in Haryana, especially women, motivated to play badminton?
Sir, role models like Saina Nehwal have motivated Indian people in Haryana, girls in Haryana, as well as their parents, to give girls the opportunity. Because till now, sports was looking as a field which was primarily dominated by men and the girls were not supported enough. Now the government is also contributive. The government has special provisions to motivate girls. For example, there's the Rani Lakshmi.
What other games and sports are, the passion of the youngsters in Haryana?
Sir, wrestling is the topmost. We have the culture of akhadas. Sir, boxing. Sir, cricket remains evergreen. Yes, sir.
Khushbu, you have mentioned in your DAP that you were involved in some policy change initiative at New Delhi. You were a research intern. So, who were you attached with?
Sir, this organization, Policy Change Initiative, it's started
So the name itself is Policy Change.
Yes, sir.
So tell me, you are going to be a civil servant. I mean, though you want to be a diplomat, but even foreign policies, I mean, who makes the policies at the national level?
Sir, policies are made, it's a multi-pronged, it's a multi-stakeholder initiative. Sir, for example, in terms of, you mean the Indian foreign policy, the MEA is involved, the PMO is involved, the commissions and the ambassadors abroad, they provide their inputs.
MEA has a minister also, MEA has a foreign secretary also.
Yes, sir.
So who, foreign secretary or the minister?
Sir, I think it's a combination of effort of the secretary and minister both in the formulation of the policy, along with the inputs received by the Indian missions abroad. And also the PMO also contributes to it. So,
okay, then tell me, our foreign policy, I mean, Russia and China have reaffirmed their friendship. And India and Russia are already friends. Now, is India threatened with this renewed friendship between the two countries at in this time when there are conflicts going on all around the world? You think it is in India's interest that Russia has joined hands with China, or are we threatened?
Sir, it certainly poses a challenge to the Indian foreign policy dynamic because China is our immediate neighbor and we already have an issue at the border with China, and growing Russia and China's limitless friendship poses a challenge to Indian diplomatic venture. And also, sir, India is also skeptical of Russia, China and Pakistan axis forming. So this also can form...
okay, coming to India and China, are we going to be permanent foes throughout?
So, I'm sorry.
Are India and China going to be permanent foes? FOES?
Foes. Okay, sorry, yes, sir.
Or you think that we should start mending fences and put the border dispute on one side and start afresh?
So, the late Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee said that we can change our friends, we cannot change our enemies. So, I think China is our neighbor and it's a reality. I think, so it's very important for India to have at least stable relations with China. If we cannot have best relations, at least we should be at a level where we can manage our conflicts.
So is India taking that initiative? China's initiative is more than India's. China says you put it in proper place and let's work. But India says you first solve the dispute, the border. Now, is border dispute possible to be settled within few months or days or years?
No, sir, I don't think border dispute is something that can be settled in a short span of time. And I also do not, I beg to differ when you say that India is not taking sufficient effort. I think India is taking sufficient effort. The change in status quo is something that has been brought out by China.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that during the last two talks India and China had, China's foreign minister made a point that let us put border, problem at a proper place. Which means that let us not bring the border dispute every time if we want to improve our relations. But India has taken a stand, first you settle the border thing.
Sir, I think China, it's a strategy that China is using to hold the status quo it has created. I think India is right to point that out, because then if the situation currently is normalized, then going back will be very difficult. So I think it's important that India highlights the...
My last question, Khushbu, is you're a student of political science. One minister in the cabinet has made the statement that there should be differences of opinion among all the three organs, and that is a test of democracy on the issue of, the judiciary and, political, the government's conflict. Now, we have been hearing that, all the three organs should work in great harmony. Now, the minister says that, no, we should always have something or the other opinion differences. So, what is good for democracy?
Sir, the point that you raised is in the context of the Honorable Law Minister making that mark. Sir, I think the Law Minister did not mean that the organs should always have differences. However, he highlighted the importance of giving the opportunity to have different opinions. We should agree to disagree on some things, because that is when the truth emerges. The truth emerges when there is a conflict of opinion, there's debate, and then there's a consensus.
Do you think the difference of opinion between the governors and some of the state elected governments is also justified from that angle?
Sir, in that view, I feel the constitution says that the governor, as the head of the state, and the chief minister should work in harmony. Sir, difference of opinion in terms of healthy criticism can be appreciated, but sir, the overarching principle should be to work in harmony for the interest of the people of the state.
Thank you, Khushbu. I pass on to our member.
And sir, if I may say, sir, my name is Muskan.
Oh, sorry, Khushbu मैंने क्यों बोला? Muskan, I'm so sorry. Muskan, sorry.
No problem, sir. Thank you.
Muskan,
Yes.
Recently Dalai Lama has anointed a boy whose parents are in United States to be a spiritual leader of Mongolia. Now, whether this news has any importance?
So, could you please repeat?
Parents are in America. The child is originally from Mongolia, and Dalai Lama has blessed that boy to be a spiritual leader, third most important spiritual leader in Buddhism. So, whether this news has any political overtones, has it any value, is it relevant to us?
Sir, the sense that I can make of it is, so we have a Tibetan refugee community in India, and it follows what it follows Dalai Lama as its spiritual guru. And sir,
Whether besides Tibetan refugees who are with us in India, are there other Buddhists also following Dalai Lama or not?
yes, sir. Sir, there are Buddhist communities in India who follow Dalai Lama, especially if we see in Dharamshala and in Ladakh.
Okay, we go to another topic. You see, what are our concerns with Myanmar?
Yes, sir. Sir, our primary concerns with Myanmar, firstly, is that of security, because it's our immediate neighbor, and India wants a secured border in terms of insurgency in the northeast should not be encouraged by anyone operating in Myanmar. So secondly, Myanmar is the gateway to Southeast Asia for India. So because of that, Myanmar is very important. So thirdly, we see that China is expanding its Belt and Road Initiative across Myanmar as well. So for that region also, since India considers South Asia and the region close to it as its strategic backyard.
Which are the Indian states which have boundary with Myanmar?
Sir, there is Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, and I think, sir, I'm not sure of the fourth one. If it could be Arunachal Pradesh.
Okay. Get me few legislations which are in the shape of women empowerment. Indian legislations.
Indian laws for women empowerment. Sir, so firstly, the 73rd and 74th Amendment Act for 33% reservation for women.
Why we needed two amendments simultaneously? 173rd, 174th. We could have moved one amendment and incorporated whatever we wanted to do that in a single amendment.
So one is for the rural local government and one is for the urban local government. Sir,
Maybe like that.
yes,
Okay. Another important legislation.
for women.
The same. Women empowerment.
So can I take 10 seconds to think? Sir, I cannot think of a legislation. I can recall some schemes, but I'm sorry, I cannot think of a legislation on this.
Okay. You will tell me that can we solve the problems of Rohingyas in India? How do we solve it?
So firstly, we need the data of the Rohingyas which are present in India. And along with the data, we need to ensure firstly that no more Rohingyas enter India. And so that we only have to deal with the crisis that is at home at this moment. So secondly, after
What is the route they are taking for entering India?
So the route that Rohingyas are taking for, so it's via so the northeast, like the West Bengal. Some people are coming via the West Bengal. Yes, sir. I think the northeastern states and the West Bengal.
Okay, thank you.
Muskan, Khalistani groups are causing trouble abroad.
Yes, sir.
So, do you think Indian government is doing enough to check Khalistani groups?
In India or sir
No.
abroad?
Whatever Indian government is supposed to do, are we doing that to check this sudden upsurge of Khalistani groups abroad?
Abroad. Sir, I think Indian government is acting on this issue. We have the Indian government called on the High Commissioner, Deputy High Commissioner of the UK and also the representative of the US to communicate that issues such as vandalism are happening there, and they should they should ensure that strict action is taken, and assurance is not enough. The government has communicated that the assurance should be converted into actions on ground. So I think so the government is acting on it, but I think more can be done so that the reaction is not just proactive, but it's sustainable over time.
Any other action that government has taken in their embassies in India? And do you think it is appropriate diplomatic action?
So, so I'd like to ask, you mean the embassies in India?
Yes, British High Commission in India. Government of India has withdrawn the security outside the High Commission. Do you think it's appropriate diplomatic reaction?
Sir,
Are you aware or not?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm aware of it. Sir, I think it's a symbolic gesture, but I don't think it's something that it's the most appropriate thing. I think such issues should be handled diplomatically so that we set the right precedent.
Okay. What are qualities of a diplomat?
So first and foremost, a diplomat should be positive and optimistic, because if we don't believe that we can change the world for better, we won't work for it. Secondly, I feel a diplomat has to be an effective communicator. The diplomat also has to be vigilant about the place that he's living in, to have a sharp eye and to be observant. So the diplomat should also be adaptable to different environments and should show interest in different cultures, different lifestyle, and sir, the utmost value says to work for India's interest and to defend it at the international level.
So what are India's interests? Can you specify what India's interest is he supposed to protect?
So the first and foremost interest is India's sovereignty and territorial integrity, that the national security, economic interest, promotion of trade, economic linkages, economic ties. These are the core ones. Then strategic and security cooperation.
What are pillars of India's foreign policy?
So the first pillar of India's foreign policy is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. India sees the world as one family. So secondly, India believes in Panchsheel and respecting international order. Article 51 states that also, the DPSP. So India's foreign policy also has a realist angle, because we believe in the realist angle which emanates from Kautilya's Arthashastra. So I think along
You
with
mentioned about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
yes, sir.
So are we following that? Are you sure? If that be so, then why our relations with China, with Nepal, with Pakistan, we should be coming out to help Pakistan. So what about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam?
Sir, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is also Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is also possible when there is peace at the border. While India wants to work for the development of the world and itself, so peace becomes the first and foremost prerogative. So I don't think demanding or trying to have peaceful relations with its neighbors and trying that China does not change the status quo. So all these efforts will add to India's effort of building.
Okay, last question I want to ask you is, what is Siliguri corridor?
So Siliguri corridors is the chicken neck corridor which connects the Indian mainland to the northeast India.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Muskan, you are from Panipat.
Yes, sir.
Why Panipat was witnessed 3 battles of Panipat?
Yes, sir.
What was the reason why Panipat was chosen for?
So Panipat was chosen because of its geographical location. So it lies 90 kilometers north through Delhi, which was the capital city of the kings at that time. Also, sir, most of the invaders came from the northwest frontier of India, and the ruler in Delhi felt it conducive to engage the engage the invader close to the capital, not too close, not too far. so that the troops could be moved there. It is also a flat land which receives lesser rainfall than Delhi. So I think these were the major factors.
Now, tell me what changes you are noticing in Haryana society?
So, I think so the fundamental change, the first change in the economy, we see that Haryana's economy was primarily agriculture, but now we're moving to the service sector with Gurugram, cities like Gurugram and Faridabad coming up. Sir, apart from that, sir, we see the industrial sector of Haryana flourishing. In Faridabad, we see the automobile industry, Panipat for its textile industry. Sir, along with that, after schemes like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, we see there's improvement in the child sex ratio and the sex ratio of the country, of the state. So I think these are the changes that I'm seeing.
Well, Muskan, you were, I think, winner in one of your debate competition. What is the turncoat debate?
So turncoat debate is the one wherein for certain time you speak for the motion and suddenly a bell rings and you have to change the side and you have to start debating against the motion.
Suppose you have to participate in a turncoat debate.
Yes.
And you have to speak on same-sex marriage. So tell me 1 minute for this motion and one against the motion.
Yes,
Same-sex marriage.
Yes, sir. So can I take 5 seconds? Okay, sir.
You don't have to see time roughly. It is not necessary that it should be exactly 1 minute. Just a couple of points on both sides.
Yes, sir. So I think same-sex marriage is something that the Indian Parliament should legalize, because while we have decriminalized homosexuality, we haven't still offered them the legal recognition of marriage. I think the Indian Constitution primarily is based on expansion of freedoms of people. It's a revolutionary constitution, and it's about time that we extend this freedom to all sections of society, because marriage is a source of identity for people. The union of marriage is a source of identity and offers them various rights. So I think it's the stage of social revolution wherein we extend these to them as well.
Change the
Sir, at the same time, I don't think the Indian society is ready to accept this change at this moment. The right thing should also be done at the right time and in the right way. We have to see if the Indian society is ready, and I think charity begins at home. We have to ask ourselves, are we ready for same-sex marriage? If I ask my family and my community, perhaps the answer is no. So I think we have to wait and we have to start debate, build a consensus before we come up with the law.
Russia-China summit happened last week. Are you aware?
Yes,
Keeping
sir.
track of that?
Yes, sir.
The joint statement, do you think there was any reference to, which indirect reference, which will have some impact on our efforts as G20 presidents to come to a consensus on Russia-Ukraine war?
Sir, that summit can have a consequence for India's presidency, because the success of a presidency is also dependent on the final communique that arises at the end of the summit. And if there's a conflict of perception and lack of consensus with regard to the Ukraine issue, this will put a dent on India's presidency. And I feel this summit with China and Russia increases the chances of the same.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Muskan,
Yes.
you were a part of exchange program in Canada,
Yes.
right? So, tell me something about India-Canada relationship.
Yes. So, India-Canada relations, India and Canada are strategic partners. We have ministerial level dialogue, for example, at the level for trade. Canada houses a large Indian diaspora, especially in provinces like British Columbia. So apart from that, we also have a civil nuclear agreement. We have a technical partnership on
Okay, fair
technology.
enough. That's enough. You also like traveling.
Yes.
So, where do you travel often?
Sir, I like to, I like ecotourism. Yes, sir. So because of my exams, I have not been traveling too much lately. But after my mains exam, I visited the Saraska Tiger Reserve in Alwar district of Rajasthan.
Okay, so can you tell me the benefits of ecotourism?
Yes, sir. Sir, ecotourism is responsible tourism to areas that are close to nature. And so ecotourism is beneficial because it generates resources for the conservation of these areas in a sustainable manner without their exploitation. For example, when we visit national parks, we pay for a ticket, and that the revenue that arises from that is used for the conservation of the park. So apart from that, ecotourism also motivates and gives us inspiration to preserve the environment, which is very important to fight climate change. So it adds to India's goals. Example, at the Paris the Paris Agreement, or the other goals that India has made for the net zero initiative. I think, sir, while it gives me pleasure, it is also good for the country and the world.
Okay, let's come to Indian economy. Where do you see Indian economy in 2030?
Sir, by 2030, we will be a $5 trillion economy.
I guess the target is by 2027 or 28.
2028.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So it's a
Okay.
more than $5 trillion economy by 2030. Sir, I think the service sector will continue to be the strength of Indian economy, especially the service exports. I think the government is working for the manufacturing sector, which is lagging behind. My hope is that by 2030, we'll be able to strengthen the manufacturing sector so that it is able to absorb the surplus labor, which is in the agriculture sector. We aspire to increase India's exports, which will also give boost to the manufacturing sector again. So the agriculture sector needs to be made more sustainable, and we need to continue to work to doubling farmers' income, the goal which could not meet in 2022.
Okay, your optional is political science.
Yes.
Right. And you have done UGC also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fellowship. Right. So recently we had elections in Northeast. Right. So the striking feature was we have seen a very high percentage of voter turnout, and which is generally not in the case of other parts of India. Generally, it is between 50 to 65%. And whereas it was 90% in northeastern states. So why is this so?
Sir, based on my assessment, I think, sir, firstly, I feel unfortunately, there is a voter apathy developing amongst the middle class section of the society. That is not just in India, but across the world. And sir, I think one reason is that. Secondly, in the Northeast region, several parties are were representing the interests of, for example, in Nagaland, there was the Tripura Motha party, which was actually talking about the interests of the tribal section, which is predominant there. So people could connect more with the party, with the ideology, and I think, so that is the reason that people turned out in greater numbers. So I'll have to think of more.
Okay, no issues. These days we are hearing the phrase, democracy is in danger. So what's your take on that?
Sir, my take on that is that, sir, democracy is facing a challenging time. I think danger is the negative word that I wouldn't like to adhere to. I think, sir, democracy is facing a challenging time because there is a tendency of right-wing majoritarianism across the world. Sir, along with that, democracy is facing a challenge because there is a concentration of wealth across the countries of the world, which is not trickling down to the lowermost section. And that is why people feel a disenchantment with the government. Along with that, sir, democracy is about freedom of expression and for people to voice their opinion. Sir, if sometimes if one section tries to impose its views on others, and and
So
calls out.
you feel that this statement is somehow partially correct.
Sir, I would like to ask that are you talking in context of India or the
India,
statement in general?
India.
In context of India. Sir, I still think that the word danger is too harsh. I think so the word challenge is more appropriate, that democracy is under challenge, and there's a need to allow greater free speech, expression, etc.
Okay, fair enough. And now I would like to know, Muskan, why do you wish to join civil services?
Sir, personally, the dream began when I was 16 years old and I got the opportunity to travel to Canada to participate in a student exchange program. I studied at a Canadian school and I felt like I was a young ambassador of India to Canada because people in that school learned about Indian culture, Indian values, Indian education system through me. And that laid the ground for me to actually dream of becoming a foreign service officer. And so later on, I developed interest in international relations, political science. It's my optional. I've done my master's in political science.
So if you were not a part of student exchange program, you would have never applied for it, right?
The civil services? Sir, I don't think so. I would have never applied for it. Then destiny would have taken its course. But I think, sir, my interest in political science and international relations is separate from my exchange.
So my last question, Muskan, if you were to be the foreign ambassador of India to any country or the EAM, which three things would you like to promote about India?
Sir, firstly, it'll be the Indian democracy because, sir, secondly, the Indian economy with the fastest growing Indian economy, and thirdly, Indian culture.
Good. So, Muskan, we are on the verge of completion of your interview.
Yes.
So, if you think there is any topic which is not covered from your DAF, you can indicate if you wish, and we shall ask the last question from that entry.
Sir, JNU. I'm from JNU, so I feel like
Okay, so so what are the differences between DU and JNU?
Sir, since I've been a student of both, sir, I think the first difference that I felt was JNU is a residential university. So we have a better feeling of actually residing in the university, and the education and the interaction system becomes a part of our daily routine and not is just restricted to the classrooms. Secondly, I think, sir, while DU is also very diverse, I feel JNU is even more diverse. It's a microcosm of the nation. We have people and people from all walks of the society present there. And especially because the fee is low, people from all economic strata get access to JNU. So thirdly, I feel, sir, the academic, the research, I felt that was more effective at JNU in terms of social science.
Okay, Muskan. So thank you. Your interview is over. You can wait in the waiting room for a couple of minutes and we will call you back for the feedback session.
Okay. Thank you, sir. May I come in, sir?
Come, Muskan.
Thank you, sir.
So, how you think you have done today? What is your own assessment of your performance?
Sir, I think it was good. I could answer most of the questions.
Any areas that you think you need to work upon before we tell you? I think the
Sir,
best learning can be your own learning.
Sir, I think some questions raised by sir, like I think the Myanmar, where the refugees come from, maybe like some questions asked by sir in terms of Northeast. I think. So that, and also the one about greater political participation in the Northeast. So these things I can read more.
So, Muskan, you were good. In fact, you were very good in most of the cases, and you have rightly pointed out areas for correction. So, while on the areas that I discussed with you, I think you need to work on basically two areas. One is India's foreign policy. The reply that you gave was very generic. I was looking for strategic autonomy. I asked what are the pillars of and present day India's foreign policy. I am not talking of, so strategic autonomy, regional cooperation, multilateralism, soft power. These are all, we are talking in terms of all these strong strengths that India has. So again, look into whatever you are
Yes, sir.
talking on India's foreign policy and qualities of diplomat. Your answer was all right. You may like to rethink again. I didn't find anywhere on the cultural aspect, because once you are diplomat of India representing India abroad, so in diplomatic qualities we should also be promoting Indianness.
Yes, sir.
All right. So those are only two suggestions that I wanted to give.
Thank you,
would
sir.
like to.
Yes. So, Muskan, lots of things to be corrected.
Yes, sir.
First is when you begin talking to the chairman and answering, at one point what happened? You said the point you raised. At that point what happened? Your hand went towards the chairman. It should not occur. When we say you, doesn't mean you. Understand? So that mistake should not be committed. It can be said without raising the hand or raising the finger. Then on overall, you have to compose your answer first and then speak. What does it mean? That means listen to the question very carefully, compose the entire answer, whatever you wish to give out in your mind. If the answer is there, then speak. If answer is not there, don't speak. Then say, sir, I am unable to recall. I do not know. I do not remember. Something like that. So that you can dispose of that question without getting into embarrassing situation. So that half you realize that either you do not know it fully or you just know in bits and pieces and it's not a satisfactory reply. So if you compose it first and then speak, then quality of your answer will improve. And quality of answer improving means marks are improving. We cannot have a situation where marks come down because you have not been able to give a complete answer.
Yes, sir.
So think about it. That I had asked about 73rd and 74th amendment. You had replied also. You know what happened? The 73rd amendment, if you really go to the body of the amendment, you will find it's a book itself. It's a very big amendment. It introduces part 9 in the Indian Constitution. And it is a long story there. And it starts from 243A, goes up to 243O or something. So many clauses. So it was thought proper that since all are devoted to one area, let them be for one, and a parallel one will be done for the municipalities. So elaborate arrangements are there because it is introducing a new idea. That's why these two have not been mixed up.
Yes.
The 73rd and 74th amendment, part 9 and part 9A. So that's the reason. Then you have not given choice for your home state, Haryana. So normally nobody asks this question, but in case the question is raised, then you have to have a short, crisp reply.
So the reply that I have in this case is that I think Haryana is a great state, but my particular interest was I wanted to give first preference to AGMUT because I feel it will give me a diverse experience. I'll be able to work in
Good
different
enough.
spaces.
You see, you have started being here from 2017 onwards, at least. Is it not? 2017 onwards, you are in Delhi. And you have developed a liking for the place. There is nothing there.
Yes.
This is a home state is just like that. So a short, crisp answer so that you don't deny the answer also and don't go into unnecessary details also. So have it ready. Normally nobody asks it. Okay? So like that. On Dalai Lama, read it. Because Dalai Lama has anointed that boy without permission of China. And China has taken umbrage on that. China thinks that appointment of Dharma Guru is their prerogative, not Dalai Lama's prerogative. So it's a serious matter which is there. Myanmar's boundary, you find out, these fellows, these Rohingyas, are coming to India from Bangladesh.
So why are West Bengal? Sir, it was the route that they were taking.
You see, those are different. When they are in Bangladesh, whether they are coming from West Bengal, whether they are coming from Assam, Meghalaya, it's a different matter.
Yes, that's what I thought, sir. I said, I knew they were coming from Bangladesh, but the route I said West Bengal and Northeast states.
It's okay.
So that's why it got confused.
So, because when you say Northeast, since Myanmar has a boundary with Northeast, so first presumption will be from Myanmar they are coming to Northeast. They are not coming to Northeast. They are first coming to Bangladesh.
Okay, sir.
Then from Bangladesh they are dispersing. Okay? Women empowerment legislations also need to prepare.
So would you like to give some?
Huh?
Sir,
So many of them. Even Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act,
yes.
latest amendment, that is in favor of women empowerment.
Yes, sir.
Then Domestic Violence Act is there in any case.
Yes.
Then sexual harassment at workplaces.
Yes, sir.
That is also a area of women empowerment. Huge number of them.
Marital rape.
Marital rape, which is in the process.
The women reservation bill. As well.
So these are the things. In the 73rd, 74th amendment, in any case it is there. Yeah. So prepare on that. Because you see, yours not only that political science and international relations is your subject. International relations, that means India and its neighborhood becomes very important.
Yes, sir.
International relations. But you are also going for first choice as foreign service. So that's why all these questions will become very important.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Muskan, a couple of small observations. In your introduction, you mentioned about that I'll mention about Indian Foreign Service. So that you can avoid. Introduction means simply tell about yourself. I'm Muskan Khurana from Panipat, Haryana. And I've done my post-graduation from Delhi University, post-graduation from so and so place. And my hobbies are this. Okay. Rest of the things you can, because every detail is in depth. Then on one point you told Honorable Chairman, sir, I beg to differ. That phrase you should avoid. Even if you have to have some point which is different from what Honorable Member or Chairman has observed, you simply say, sir, in my opinion it is like this. Rather than starting with, sir, I beg to differ.
These are terms to be avoided.
Yeah. Sometimes, even if you say, I respectfully, I beg to differ, whatever, don't say like that. Simply, sometimes you say, humbly, I beg to differ. No. Simply start like this. Sir, in my opinion, it is like this. Okay. Then also, while sitting for some time to think, you mentioned, you quantified it. Sir, can I take 10 seconds? Don't quantify. You may finish in 5 seconds, or you may take a little longer. Why 10 seconds? Sir, can I have some time to think?
Mm-hmm.
Can I take some time? That's it. Don't quantify it. Right? Otherwise, your personality, communication skill, very good. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
So, Muskan, overall, you were very good.
Thank you.
Personality, communication, the way you explain the points and content was very good. So, for further improvements, okay, it seemed as if you are more international rather than national. So, you are throwing words, ecotourism, foreign service. So, it seems you are too much bent on foreign service. And it is being perceived that you will not join any other service because your focus is too much on international arena. Are you getting my point? This is what is being perceived. So you need to bring about a personality which is more holistic.
Yes.
So I hope you are understanding what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
So in the introduction also you told about foreign services. It's already mentioned. So they will ask a lot about foreign services, but you need to talk about national issues also. I will give you example. My question was, democracy is in danger in the light of whatever is being going on with Rahul Gandhi and opposition. So the answer should have been, yes, sir, it is a view by the opposition. But sir, in my opinion, our democracy is the strongest pillar. Okay, so somehow you could have answered in that manner. Okay. Secondly, you need to rephrase your answer on why civil services. The question was civil services and not why IFS. And you gave the example of your Canada thing. So I tried to put you into trap also, and then you told, then it is my destiny. It means you are not destined to join civil services. You are leaving it to something else, to your destiny. It should be your resolve, your decision to enter into civil services. So because foreign service. Because for them, all the services are equal. So we do not have to disparage any service. If my question would have been, my next question was, why IFS? But you never gave me that opportunity to ask you why IFS. You yourself stated IFS. So for you, it seems IFS is the civil services.
So my answer for civil services should be the generic answer.
Right, exactly. Diversity, opportunity for public service, and number 3, better career opportunities.
You can phrase according to your this thing, yes. But these 3 basic points should come: public service, diverse platform,
And opportunities.
and opportunities for career growth.
Or best career
Option. Then there might be a question, but these are the traits of an IAS officer, not an IFS. There might be a question, but there is diversity in foreign service also. So you will be serving the country in foreign service also, and good career opportunities in foreign service also. So you can anyhow justify, and don't put it at an event. Since when I was 16-year-old, I went to Canada. So it means you are influenced by events. So you can be influenced by anyone during your service. You are an influenceable person. This is the perception. It might be true. That's okay. But no need to portray that truth in front of board members.
So I just wanted to add like a personal dimension to it. Why?
No need. Talk about the traits of civil services. So you might say that it is a very common and answer given by everyone, but it's the truth. Let it be.
If there is a particular question, ki Muskan, was there an incident which prompted you to, which ignited this, fire in you for the civil services? Then you can narrate. Because here the question is why civil service? So then you have to highlight the strong and unique USPs of civil services
and your
intent to become a civil servant.
And one more suggestion, in the voter turnout percentage question, since your optional is political science, so just phrase an answer for that. The possible reasons are, generally the government is the biggest employer in Northeast for police forces, paramilitary forces, and secondly, due to the safety issues, the security is very high during those times. So people tend to socialize also during elections. So just read some good articles on this matter.
Yes.
So you can give very good answers on this matter, since you are a student of political science. So these are just to improve you further. You have done very well. We have given you very good marks also. But you are a candidate who can score 200 plus with your personality and good communication.
Muskan, one addition in India's foreign policy. You must always talk of maintaining integrity and keeping national interest on top. Whatever reply you give, everything, the basic platform is maintaining India's integrity and keeping national interest on top. All right. So, Muskan, we have given you 66%.
182 marks. But you
Thank
can
you.
score 200 easily.
Thank you.
So you have very good personality, and I am sure with the kind of advice that you have got, work on it,
Yes.
and I am sure you can get it.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Wish
you.
you all the best.
All the
Any
best.
other question from your side?
So I think so that is it. Also, I've started my research as a PhD scholar in JNU. So I was wondering if it's worth.
Yes. I have written it down. I couldn't ask you. Prepare yourself on questions on research. All right, not
Have you
on
mentioned
your
in
research.
No, sir,
But-
he has not mentioned in DAF.
ये लिखा है research intern at policy change.
Internship I've mentioned.
Internship. It is
हाँ,
internship. She's also
internship.
doing research, PhD.
So नहीं PhD नहीं. You were research intern on policy change.
Yes.
That you should be prepared for.
So
sir,
you
the
should
question
prepare.
is, she should mention about the PhD
No,
or
no,
not?
No, not that. Prepare yourself on aspects related to research.
There are already so many entries in your DAF. So those are enough.
Okay.
Moreover, you have enrolled for research has no relevance. Also, no? It has no relevance. You have not done PhD so far. You know, so it's just the beginning. We don't know at what level your research work is.
And then you are confused, IFS and research. Then why going for research? Then some weird questions might arise.
No, don't mention that. But you should be prepared for the research intern.
Yes, sir.
That you should be. What was the topic? What was your finding? How relevant it is? That you should be ready.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
रिसर्च में आप कहाँ तक गए हैं?
Sir, PhD अभी शुरू की है.
शुरू किया मैंने रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी पढ़ा है कि नहीं
Sir पढ़ा है.
पढ़ा है और उसके आगे क्या पढ़ा है?
Sir,
दैट इज द फर्स्ट स्टेज रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी.
sir PhD की क्लासेस अभी पिछले हफ्ते शुरू हुई है. sir.
हाँ तो इसलिए अवॉइड करो.
Sir, yes.
वो
क्योंकि रिसर्च में बहुत सवाल हैं.
बहुत सवाल.
But you will have to prepare. कब है आपका इंटरव्यू?
So 20th
Be-
April.
So you have time. Prepare on their 10 questions I can ask you. Okay, internet based research versus conventional research. Then is India doing enough in research? Then research and innovation. You know, chat GPT and research, IPR related issues. So I can ask you 10 questions straight away on research. Prepare once you have written it.
बेकार में न्यू एरिया क्यों देना? There is enough and you will do well. मतलब आप
So
अच्छा
don't-
कर रहे हो.
आप
Already.
अपने पे फोकस करो और जो सवाल बना के उनके जवाब बनाओ.
ठीक है sir.
ठीक है?
Anything else?
No sir. Thank you.
Okay. All the best.
Thank you.
All the best, Muskan.